It's July the 30th, 1943, in the skies over Germany, and a B-17 named Tondelayo is under attack. In the back is Tailgunner Michael L Arooth. Mike, as he is known to the crew, is ready as the German Bf-109s and FW-190s come in, sometimes 4 at a time. Mike fires away at the massive German fighters, as do the rest of the formation, as today there are 186 flying fortresses and 123 P-47 Thunderbolts taking part in a raid upon German factories.
The Germans must think our Tailgunners are stupid. They're coming in again and again, firing, turning bottoms up and slipping away.
There is silence, but then they're back. It's relentless. Mike sees most of the action. The formation approaches Remagen when they're attacked again. The navigator, Almar Bendener, said in his book, Fall of Fortresses, "Near Remagen, I noted the fall of 2 enemy fighters. I fired at those arrows in the sky, but I knew that I was merely making noise to let them know we were alive on the port side." Then the fighters disappeared. The crew knew what was happening next. The Flak started. Tondelayo is rocked again and again by Flak, the motors grinding on. Tondelayo flying unswervingly through a sky of angry black shell bursts.
Bomb bay doors open. They're away. Jeez, look at that. The bombs are away. Look at that Flak. So thinking of on it. Bombs away. Let's blow this thing and go home.
The bombs are away, and the pilot, Second Lieutenant Bone E. Fawkes, turns the Tondelayo sharply to the right. As the Flak starts to subside, there's a moment's relief before the fighters return. The transmission,
Bandit, coming in 3 o'clock.
is heard. Immediately, the Thunderbolts accelerate to meet the threat, rising and disappearing from Fawkes' view. Behind him, his top turret gunner opens fire, and mere moments later, a massive swarm of Bf-109s falls upon the Americans. All the B-17's guns burst to life as the enemy fighters speed by all around, tracers filling the air. Outside, the Thunderbolts put up a fierce defense, but are simply overwhelmed. There's so many Germans, the pilots can't chase them all, and many start ripping through the bomber formations, completely unopposed. Amidst the chaos, Fawkes can do nothing but steel his nerves and hold station. Their formation is their strength. He must keep the girl steady, even as he witnesses their compatriots getting torn to pieces around him.
Look at that. Those poor devils. Stay focused.
In the back, Arooth is an expert gunner, and he's putting his skills into full display. A second 109 sweeps in for an attack run, but barely opens fire before Arooth's flawlessly placed barrage rips its wing right off.
Come on, who's next?
Mayday, mayday. We're going down.
Across the flying fortress, all the gunners have their hands full. Enemies zip past, underneath, and at either side. It's a total swarm. Casings and links clink on the floor amidst a symphony of machine guns as they all fight for their lives. Enemy shells strike the Tondelayo's wings several times, but the tough girl somehow carries on.
Fight at 7 o'clock.
Roger that.
Back in the tail, a third German comes into the attack at breakneck speed, but it's not enough to throw off Arooth. The twin machine guns unleash their power with deafening bangs, casings and links clanking on the floor. Again, the enemy is torn apart by the volley, but his luck was bound to run out. When a fourth Bf-109 approaches from his left, guns blazing, Arooth doesn't get the chance to fire before a 20mm shell detonates right next to him, tearing open a gash in the fuselage and sending metal fragments flying straight into him. His left leg is hit with the brunt of the explosion and injured severely by shrapnel. His oxygen tube is ripped. His left machine gun is destroyed. Mike gets on the intercom.
I'm hit in my right hand and my left leg.
Then the crew hear a jumble of static.
Mike, do you hear me? Mike, are you okay? Mike.
Fawkes feels the impact and realizing that Mike is hit and he now has a bandit on his tail and no tail gunner to face him. Against all bomber pilot wisdom, he pushes on the stick. plunging the flying fortress into a small dive in a desperate evasive action. Behind the cockpit, the spent cases roll across the floor, and the crew are overtaken by panic and dread as they feel their plane falling underneath them.
What the hell?
According to Bendiner, the navigator, Bone was climbing, diving, and making corkscrew patterns in a crazy choreography designed to unsettle the fighters who are pressing in from all sides. He said, "When I tried to stand, my feet slipped from underneath me. I clung to my desk and the gun, waiting for the attack to subside. Holes start to appear in the formation as more and more planes go down.
Oh my gosh, look at that, they're going down.
When at last Mike came on again, his words were jumbled, and he sounded as if he were calling from a painfully long distance.
They bailed. Do you hear me? Mike.
But at least the crew knew he was alive. The attack continues, but strangely, there's no waste guns. A call goes out across the intercom.
Bombardier to waste gunners. Bombardier to waste gunners. Come in. Come in. Stop me. Harris, come in. Goddammit, come in. Do you read me? Juke, come in. Bombardier to radio. Juke, come in.
The Tondelayo's motors whine on. Mike's voice came across the intercom, vague and blurred with an odd calm.
They're gone. What does he mean they're gone? What the hell is he talking about?
Bone is furious. He gives control to the co-pilot and makes his way through the plane. The radio operator is gone. Getting as far as the waste guns, he's shocked to find them abandoned. There, they find the radio operator. Bendiner said he was sitting on the floor, one leg dangling beyond the open hatch. Bob and I pulled him across the floor past the waste ports, where the wind howled as in an Arctic blizzard, where one could see the silvery wings of our enemies curvetting and spitting sparks. The floor of the fuselage was torn in spots, the metal peeled back, multicolored cables were in shreds. We sat Duke up in the radio room and looked to see whether he was bleeding. He was untouched, but his eyes were dreamy and he wore a smile of absurd serenity. There was no oxygen in the rear of the plane. Back in the tail, Arooth's left leg is shattered, bleeding profusely, and unmovable. He defies the pain, and with the freezing cold wind rushing through the hole in the fuselage, he tries desperately to reach his emergency oxygen supply. But he's way too injured and can't get to it. He gives up on the oxygen and returns to his machine gun, despite hypoxia and blood loss quickly setting in. He fires indiscriminately to a multitude of targets hounding them, determined to protect the B-17 to the bitter end. The fighting is constant, and Arooth's last functional 50 cal jams. A BF-109 starts to set up its attack run. Arooth's mind is struggling for oxygen, but despite everything impairing his mind, he identifies the problem in an instant. The BF-109 brings the Tondelayo into its sights. Arooth opens the receiver and clears the jammed canvas belt, refitting it. The BF-109 starts to open fire. Arooth gets back on the gun and raises it in an instant, just in time to meet the BF-109 with a storm of lead, reducing it to a ball of flame. The fight drags on, but no other 109s attempt an attack run on the Tondelayo. Eventually, the battered enemy turns away, and the skies finally fall to calm. The remaining crew are deeply shaken and not understanding how they're still alive. One of the members checks on Arooth and is shocked to see the state he's in. He provides first aid, making a tourniquet on his leg, providing morphine, and fitting Arooth's emergency oxygen, while the Tondelayo continues on its mission home. Hours later, the aircraft made a safe landing back at base. Arooth was in shock, but he hung on to life. Medics provided immediate assistance, and he would recover. Tondelayo had come back by the skin of its teeth, seemingly saved by the accuracy and sheer raw determination of Arooth and Falk's quick thinking. But they would later discover that a third person also saved the B-17. Upon landing, The men observed a strike right into the B-17's fuel tank and were amazed at their luck. The detonating shells of the 109s should explode the fuel tank from within, ripping the wing in half and triggering an inferno. But this one had apparently been a dud. Later that day, ground crew opened up the Tondelayo to retrieve the unexploded ordnance. But when they tore apart the tank, they were shocked to find 11 whole shells stuck within. A single dud was incredible luck. 11 would have been nothing short of divine intervention. But as the armourers opened them up, a different reality came to light. Not a single one had explosive filler. They were empty, just a hollow piece of lead. All except for one. Rolled inside one of the shells was a piece of paper which had a message written in Czech. An intelligence officer scours the base for someone to translate. Its message is read to the crew. It says, "This is all we can do for you now." It had been sabotaged by an unknown and brave soul, imprisoned and forced into weapons manufacturing by the German army. He or she would never know it, but their actions directly allowed 10 men to return home. The entirety of Tondelayo's crew would survive the war, even those who bailed over Germany. They were captured and remained in camps until their eventual liberation. Arooth was hailed as a hero by the other men. He ended the war with 17 confirmed victories and a dozen probables. He lived a long life and passed away in 1990. Today, a plaque in his memory lies on the Springfield, Massachusetts City Hall. We spend every cent we make on the next videos, and the more viewers we have really helps us to make better videos each time. If you enjoyed this film, we'd very much appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe and notifications bell. Thank you.